Hello everyone, welcome to this video. So I'm just gonna be talking about my adoption story and how I found my birth family as a closed adoptee. So with closed adoptions, it is, as it suggests, a closed adoption. All the information to your biological family is closed off and you are not allowed to access it until you're 18. Depending on the circumstance with my agency, you could request your birth family's information once you turned 18, but then they would reach out to your birth family first to see if they were okay with them releasing their information. Now with my adoption agency, I was given information on them pertaining to their health, how many siblings they had, their hair color, eye color, medical history that runs in their families, both sides of the birth parents' families. So you're not closed off from important information. You're just basically closed off from their names. You know everything about them on paper, just not their names. Their last names. I knew their first names, but that's it. So with my situation, I have an older sister who's also adopted from the same agency, but from a different birth family. She was adopted a couple years before me because she's older than me. We were both adopted as infants. And it was really frustrating because I have always been interested in knowing who my birth family is growing up. And right before I turned 13, I asked my mom to call the agency to ask for my birth parents' names. So we did that. We called them and they said, we can't give you their names, but we can just send you what we have on them that we can give you, which is hair color, eye color, weight, height, hair texture, how many other kids they have. On the papers it said like their other kids are good eaters. It had their siblings' first names, medical history that like runs with them, both mental health and physical health, that runs with their siblings, that runs in the family with their parents, all that stuff. So they sent me that information and I cherished and held on to that information for 4 years until I actually found them. Oh, where I was getting at that by telling you about my older sister is my mom, even though my older sister was also a closed adoption, the caseworker on her case was really chill and the caseworker told my mom her birth parents' names. So we've always known my sister's birth parents' names, but my sister has never been interested in reaching out or talking to them. So it's kind of frustrating because it's like, wrong kid, you know? Like, why couldn't my case have been the chill caseworker? But it turned out fine in the end. I found out who they were. Anyways, now fast forward to when I was 17. I was thinking about how I was gonna be turning 18 in a couple months and how I wanted to find my birth family. And I was thinking to myself, I really don't wanna wait. I'm impatient. I just wanna know right now. So one day I was getting somewhere way too early. I think I was dropping hand-me-downs off at my friend's house for his little sister, but he wasn't home yet. So I just pulled over into a parking lot to wait until he was ready for me to come. And I'm sitting there thinking, what can I do to pass the time? And then I was like, oh yeah, my birth family. Let me see if I can trick my adoption agency into thinking I turned 18. Because I was born in 2000, the year was 2018, but it was, I believe it was April. So I hadn't turned 18 yet. So I called them and I was like, hey, I was adopted through your agency in 2000, you know, trying to trick them. In 2000, now it's 2018, I'm 18, tell me the information. Can you tell me my birth parents' names? And they were like, I'm sorry, it says here in your record that you're not 18 yet, so we can't tell you that. And even if you were 18, we would have to have a formal request from you. And then we would reach out to them first, and then we would set up a meeting between you guys. Then I was like, no, that's not gonna do because I need to stalk them on social media first to make sure that they don't seem, I don't know, crazy or something. So I was like, okay, thanks, bye. I get home that evening, I tell my mom, they still won't tell me their names. Oh, also on the phone, they were like, I can tell you their first names, it's Wendy and Mark. We've known that their names are Wendy and Mark forever. We could not find any information on them using just their first names. We needed their last names. So yeah, I get home and I tell my mom. She was like, that's so annoying. Let me see what paperwork I have. So she goes into her files, finds this ginormous, it wasn't that big, finds this ginormous stack of paperwork of all of my birth mom's medical information. Now this was not the paperwork that the agency sent me when I was 13. This was a whole other stack of papers that I had never seen in my life that I did not know my mother had. I don't know if she just forgot about them years ago when I was looking for my birth family or if she was intentionally keeping it because, like, I'll admit, like, you really shouldn't be meeting your birth family that young if you're a closed adoption, because they most likely gave you up because of some type of substance abuse or mental illness issue, and like you should really wait till you're a little older. Besides the point. We're looking through this packet of information, everything on it identifying my birth mom. Her last name is redacted. However, my mom was sorting through all the papers and she was like, oh my God, I found her birthday. So we're now searching Wendy, which was her first name, her birthday that we had just found, and then the town that I was born in, Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. And we're scrolling through all these random Wendys from Bethlehem, Pennsylvania's Facebook. I knew from the information packet that I got when I was 13 that she was 4'9" and 85 pounds. So I was like, we're looking for a really short, skinny lady with brown hair. Do you know how many Wendys I found that were short, skinny with brown hair? I'm looking at all these Wendys and I'm like, what if I don't even look like her? Like, how am I supposed to know which is which? Because at that point, again, we did not have her last name. And then I'm looking through this one Wendy's page, scrolling through all of her profile pictures. I'm not really seeing a resemblance. I just think this is another Wendy. And then my mom said something and I looked up from my phone. And then with a new fresh set of eyes, I looked back at my phone and the picture that I had landed on was a picture of this particular Wendy at her prom when she was in high school. And suddenly, next thing I know, I'm staring at my face, but it's not me. And that's when I knew that this was my birth mom. And then we scroll through her account more and we find out that we find her other kids and they all look around the age that they should be according to her medical information of her past pregnancies. I had known at that point that I had 4 biological siblings that I didn't know about, but I actually have 5 biological siblings. So yeah, we find all of my biological siblings' Facebooks. We find my birth father's Facebook. I looked like a couple of my birth siblings. I look like my birth brother. We have the exact same face too. Actually, I look a lot like both of my biological brothers. One of them is my full biological brother and the other one's a half biological brother, but I think we all look like our birth mom, whereas my full biological sister very much looks like my birth dad, but we have some similar features here and there. I find these people with my exact face and I'm like, yeah, this is them. And I was like, they seem chill. They don't seem like they're gonna like fucking kill me if I meet them. So I didn't want to reach out to my birth siblings, even though they were both active on Facebook, because I didn't know if they knew about me. So I reached out to my birth mom first. She wasn't really active on Facebook. She didn't respond for, I think it was like a week or 2. So then I reached out to my biological aunt on my birth dad's side because I had seen Wendy, my birth mom, and my aunt in a couple pictures together, and I'm like, oh, they're friends. She probably knows about me. So I reached out to my biological aunt on my birth father's side. I was like, hey, so sorry to bother. I'm Wendy's biological child. She's really not answering Facebook. I didn't want to like message my birth siblings because I don't know if they know about me. And she was like, OMG, it's you. And you know, we're saying more in-depth things than this, but the gist of what she said was, OMG, it's you. Yes, I think they know about you. I know that your oldest biological sister, Jessica, the birth sibling that I did not know that I have because she's my half sibling from my birth father's side. Your oldest birth sister, Jessica, was there when you were born. She knows about you. Go reach out to her. So I reached out to Jessica. She reached out to my full biological siblings who are more closer in age to me. And then I planned to meet them the next day. I met both of my full biological siblings. It was either the next day or the day after that. And my birth mom. I didn't meet my birth dad at that point because he was in jail, but I met him a couple months later. I met my oldest biological sister, Jessica, a couple months later. I've met my half birth brother and my other half birth sister. Since then, I've met my biological grandmother on my birth father's side. I've met my biological grandfather on my birth mother's side. Oh yeah, I met him the day that I met all of them, the first day that I met all of them too. But yeah, it was kind of a wild ride. My birth siblings told me that way back when they were in like elementary school, one of my birth mother's friends told them, you know, you guys have a sister out there, right? And they were like, what? And she was like, yeah, Wendy had another kid after Jade. And they both said, Wendy always told us that she got her tubes tied after Jade, my birth sister that's a year older than me, was born. But she didn't tell them that she got them tied after Jade was born, after I was born. Because she technically didn't lie. She did get her tubes tied after Jade. It was just after she had another baby after Jade. So yeah, pretty wild. It was really funny because I asked them, are you guys okay with me posting these pictures on Facebook that I met you guys and who you guys are? And they said, oh yeah, we don't care. No one will be surprised. And then when I posted it, I got some of their Facebook friends commenting on my stuff like, question mark, what is this? I thought that was funny. But yeah, that is how I found and met my biological family. I think it's really weird that I look just like some of them because I grew up in a family that is predominantly blonde and blue-eyed. My older sister has brown hair and brown eyes. My mom has brown eyes, but she's a blonde. She's a fake blonde, but she looks like she should be blonde, if that makes any sense. I don't know, I just always felt like an outcast in my family because my mom remarried into a ultra blonde, blue-eyed family. I've just always been a little black sheep. So it's nice to know that I have people that look like me too. Anyways, yeah, that was my adoption story video. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you have any questions that I didn't cover in this video, anything that I didn't explain correctly, feel free to ask me in the comments. I'm not the best at explaining things, so I get it. If you're adopted, let me know how you found your birth family, or if you want to find your birth family, or if you don't want to find them and why. And yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching.